There's no room for your kids on the New Year cruise. My brother said. His son added, tickets are $3,200 each, so happy New Year at home. I know, kid. I paid for every single ticket. They posted family photos without us. When the ship left and they saw us waving from the deck, I just smiled. Happy New Year. Looks like you're the ones staying home. My name's Easton. I'm 34, a podcast host who spends most days asking people hard questions and listening for what they don't say. I'm a husband to Jenna, dad to two kids who think room service pancakes are the peak of civilization, and in my family, I'm the reliable one. Which is a nice way of saying, the guy with the card on file. New Year's week was supposed to be simple. Family cruise. Fireworks over the water. Grandparents hugging grandkids at midnight. I'd booked it months ago as a surprise for my parents' 35th anniversary. 12 tickets. 2 adjoining cabins for my crew, balcony rooms for everyone else, transfers, the works. I even paid the deposit for my brother Mason because he just needed a few weeks. Then, 2 days before embarkation, Mason called. No hello. No how are the kids. Just, there's no room for your kids on the New Year cruise. I thought I misheard. What? He put me on speaker. I could hear the TV, the clink of ice in a glass. His son, my 15-year-old nephew, piped up like a little finance manager. Tickets are $3,200 each, so happy New Year at home. I stared at the drywall like it might give me answers. I know, kid, I said, calm because my kids were coloring at the table. I paid for every single ticket. Silence. A muffled laugh. Mason again. We voted. Adults only this time. Vibe is different without toddlers. They're not toddlers, I said. They're 7 and 9. Jenna touched my wrist. Stay cool. Mason exhaled dramatically. Look, the ship's full. Nothing we can do. You can still send mom and dad, though. Don't be selfish. I walked into the hallway so the kids wouldn't see my face. My heart was doing that slow, heavy thud. I've done 100 interviews about boundaries, burnout, family roles. Funny how theory evaporates when it's your brother telling your kids they don't count. Text me the new cabin list, I said, and send the receipt for the changes. He didn't answer. 10 seconds. 20. A notification buzzed. Family group chat. A photo of boarding outfits laid out on a bed. Matching shirts that said ship happens. My parents commented with heart emojis. My sister Ivy wrote, can't wait. Adults deserve fun. My phone lit again. Mason, we'll post pics. No hard feelings. I looked at Jenna. She shook her head. Don't say anything yet. I didn't. I just saved the photo, opened my email, and searched for the original confirmations. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's keeping receipts. Literally. This didn't start with a cruise. It started years ago with 1,000 small yes that sounded harmless one at a time. Yes, I'll cover the electric bill until Friday. Yes, I'll add you to my Amazon so you can watch the show. Yes, I'll book the Airbnb and you can Venmo me later. Later never came. Or it came in pieces wrapped in excuses. A Cash App payment at 2:13 a.m. for $40 with the memo, you'd have best. 3 weeks after a $600 weekend. A promise. A shrug. Another promise. Family, right? When my podcast took off, the story changed. Suddenly, I made good money, which meant I had a duty to share. Mason said it the loudest, but Ivy was the one who turned it into consensus. We all help each other, she'd say, which always translated to me helping and everyone else clapping. Last winter, my parents' car died. I bought them a reliable used one and told Jenna, it's a gift. No strings. She squeezed my hand and said softly, make sure they know it's a gift, not a tap. I nodded. Then I handed the keys over and Mom teared up and Dad said, we'll pay you back when our tax return hits. And Mason laughed. Or Easton can write it off. I kept smiling. That's my role. The reasonable one. The calm one. I learned a long time ago that raising your voice only makes people decide you're the problem. So when I planned the cruise, it felt like something good I could steer. A reset. A memory my kids would hold. I booked early, chose midship cabins so my mom wouldn't get seasick, paid for the drink package because Dad loves pretending he can taste the difference between sparkling wines, added the Wi-Fi because Ivy can't be offline, and I put everything under one umbrella booking. Mine. We talked about it for months. Group chat buzzed. Countdowns, excursion links, my dad asking if formal nights still meant a tie, Ivy posting a TikTok of cruise hacks she didn't read, Mason asking about casino hours. I watched my kids pick their New Year outfits. My daughter chose glitter sneakers. My son wanted a tie, like Grandpa. It felt right. Then 3 weeks out, the asks started. Mason, can we swap our interior for a balcony? Ivy said we should all match. Me. Sure. I'll call. I moved things around and paid the difference, telling myself it's worth it to keep the peace. Ivy. Also, can we link our cabin with mom and dad's so we're near the elevators? Me. Done. 2 weeks out. Mason remembered he hadn't paid me his share. Payday is weird because of holidays. You know how it is. I didn't know. I also knew his watch was newer than mine. I told him we'd settle after the trip. A week out, I noticed something odd in the portal. The primary guest on 2 cabins wasn't me anymore. It was Mason. I called the cruise line. The agent explained politely that someone with the booking number and my last name had updated contact details to streamline check-in. Can they remove guests? I asked. Only the lead guest can remove or reassign, she said. But since it's a linked family booking, any lead can make changes to linked cabins. Even if I paid. I'm sorry, sir. We look at the lead, not who swiped the card. I changed the passwords, reset the pins, re-added myself as the lead on everything. I texted Mason. Stop changing the booking. Ask me if you want to move a bed. He replied with a laughing emoji. Control freak much? 2 days later, he did it again. This time I got a notice that 2 minors had been removed for capacity. I called immediately. After 20 minutes on hold, a supervisor came on. Sir, your family member transferred those guests to another sailing. Those guests are my kids, I said, each word steady because my hands weren't. The supervisor paused. Sir, I can see that you paid the initial deposit for all cabins. Do you want me to lock the booking so changes require your voice code? Yes. Before I do, there's something else, she added carefully. Your brother requested to add a 3rd adult to his cabin. That would exceed capacity unless minors are moved. I closed my eyes. Add no one. Lock everything. That night, Jenna and I sat at the kitchen table while the kids slept. She set her mug down and said, You know what this is. I know, I said. I just hate that it's happening around a thing I wanted for our kids. You wanted a memory. They want a sponsor. I nodded. They're going to make me the villain if I say no. She squeezed my fingers. They already did. In the morning, the group chat filled with new energy. Ivy posted a meme about free babysitting equals grandma's problem. Mason wrote, Adults cruise. Sorry, not sorry. My mom sent a winking face, and we'll bring the kids souvenirs. My dad wrote nothing, which is his way of agreeing without typing it. I typed and erased 10 different replies. Then I did what I always do when I'm unsure. I got organized. I pulled every receipt, every email. I exported the chat. I made a folder called Cruise, Paper Trail. Not because I plan to start a war. Because I'm tired of being told my memory is the problem. 2 days before embarkation, Mason made the call with the line about no room. He hung up before I could answer. Minutes later, a new post hit the group chat. My family in matching shirts, pointing at a suitcase tower. Ivy captioned it, Adults only. Manifesting stress-free vibes. Jenna read it and said, We can still go. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. We will, I said, but not how they think. The confrontation didn't happen in person. It happened the way all modern family fights happen. In a group chat that everyone swears they hate and checks every 5 minutes. I dropped screenshots. The invoice with my name and the total that made my stomach tighten even though I knew it by heart. The line that showed I paid the deposit and the balance. The call log with the cruise line. A note from the supervisor confirming the lock on the booking and the reversal of unauthorized changes affecting minor guests. I wrote, Here's the situation. I booked this trip for our family, plural. If you want an adults-only vacation, book one. I'm taking my kids on the cruise I paid for. The typing bubble popped up and down like a siren. Ivy went first. No need to be dramatic. Mason, dude. We were just trying to vibe. You're making it weird. Mom. Easton, we thought it would be easier. The ship is crowded. The kids will be bored. Jenna finally weighed in. Our kids were never the problem. Please stop saying that. Mason sent a voice note. His voice had that tight, false calm he uses when he's about to swear. Bro, you're not canceling anything. Everyone is packed. We already posted. Don't embarrass the family. I kept my tone level. I'm not canceling. I'm restoring the original plan. Everyone keeps their cabin. Our 2 minors remain in their beds. If anyone tries to remove them again, I will remove whoever made the change from the booking entirely. Ivy, you can't do that. Me. I can. Lead guest. Card on file. Voice code on lock. Try me. Silence. Then my dad, who never texted during conflict, finally appeared. Son, be reasonable. I felt something settle. Being reasonable got us here. I typed. New rule. I'm done paying for events where my kids are not welcome. Mason, so what? You're holding the trip hostage. Me, no. I'm honoring what I booked. If you want to change the terms, book your own trip. He tried the guilt pivot. This is why we never ask you for anything. I dropped one more screenshot, a spreadsheet of loans and Venmo notes from the last 3 years. Names blacked out, amounts not. The total at the bottom spoke for itself. Podcast guy made a spreadsheet. Mason wrote, mocking. Adult man can read it. I replied. He went quiet for the rest of the day. The chat did its thing. Side comments. My mom trying to soften. Ivy posting a reel about packing cubes like none of it was happening. I didn't respond again. That night, my phone pinged with a private message from Mason. You're dead to me if you pull anything at the port. I stared at the words until they lost shape. Then I put my phone face down and tucked my kids into bed. My daughter asked, are we still going on the big boat? Yes, I said. We are. Embarkation morning felt like the start of a road trip when you were a kid. Too bright. Too early. Coffee and travel mugs. The car smelling like sunscreen and printer ink. My son counted buses out loud. My daughter wore her glitter sneakers and carried a tiny backpack packed only with crayons and a hairbrush shaped like a unicorn. The terminal buzzed with rolling suitcases and squeaky sneakers. The ship loomed like an apartment complex that learned to float. We took a family selfie for us, not for the group chat, and got in line. At security, I saw Ivy first. Head-to-toe neutral palette, giant hat, rolling 2 bags like a runway. She clocked us and blinked like we were a glitch in her camera. Then I saw my parents, matching windbreakers, my dad's grin too wide. And there was Mason, jaw clenched, his teenage son already filming for a story. I nodded. Morning. Mason looked at my kids and then at me. So you're really doing this? We're boarding the cruise I paid for, I said. He smirked. We'll see. I didn't rise to it. We went through the first checkpoint. The agent scanned our passports, smiled at my daughter's unicorn brush, and pointed us toward the escalator. Behind us, I heard raised voices. Sir, I'm not seeing a completed check-in for this guest, an agent said. That's impossible, Mason snapped. We did it yesterday. Not with this configuration, the agent replied. You can't have 3 adults in one cabin unless. I didn't turn around. I kept walking, Jenna's hand in mine, kids bouncing on their toes. At the final scanner, a supervisor waved us into the priority lane. Mr. Cole, she said. We spoke on the phone. Come this way. Your rooms are ready. We've noted your voice code. No changes without you. Thank you, I said, meaning it. We rode the gangway. The air smelled like salt and new carpet. The ship's horn sounded, and my son hooped like a tiny pirate. I felt the knot in my chest loosen for the first time in days. My phone vibrated nonstop. I ignored it until Jenna gave me a look that said, you'll be thinking about it anyway. I opened the group chat. Photos. They'd started before us. My parents on a bench. Ivy with a latte. Mason captioned a selfie outside the terminal. Family traditions. Missing a few, but we'll survive. Then a new message. They're saying our boarding times got moved? Ivy wrote, we're in some other line now. A few minutes later, why did my cabin number change? From my mom. Then Mason, call me right now. I typed, we just got on. Try guest services. He blew up my phone with calls I didn't take. Finally, a text came through with a photo, a line at a customer service desk stretching like a theme park ride. The caption, they split us up. Jenna raised an eyebrow. I shrugged. I didn't split anyone, I said. I returned everything to the original booking. If they were trying to sneak extra adults or push our kids off the manifest, that's on them. We found our cabins. Adjoining doors. 2 towel animals waiting on the beds like polite aliens. The kids ran from balcony to bunk to bathroom like it was a museum built for them. I took a slow breath and let my shoulders drop. An hour later, we were on deck for the sail away. A band played cover songs nobody admitted to knowing the words to. Paper streamers blew sideways. The city slid backward. I leaned on the rail with my kids, pointing at tugboats and pelicans. Down on the quay, I saw them, my family, clustered near a fence, phones up, faces screwed into that combination of anger and theater. They pointed at the ship, then at me, then at a paper. Maybe an updated boarding pass. Maybe nothing. I waved. Not petty, just present. My daughter waved too because waving is her love language. Mason cupped his hands and yelled something I couldn't hear. His son filmed. Ivy shook her head like a disappointed influencer. My mom dabbed at her eyes. My dad glared. The band hit the chorus. The ship moved. Jenna leaned in. Do you want to go down there? Try to fix it. I looked at my kids. My son held the rail with both hands like he could steer. My daughter's glitter shoes flashed in the sun. I thought of every time I was told to be reasonable, to be quiet, to make it work for everyone but the people I'd promised to put first. No, I said. I don't. The horn sounded again. Confetti popped. My phone buzzed with a final message from Mason. You did this. You stranded your own family. I typed back. I offered the original plan. You tried to change the guest list. We're done playing that game. Then I put my phone on airplane mode. We explored. The kids discovered the soft serve machine. We found a quiet corner of the buffet with a view of nothing but ocean. At sunset, the sky did that gradient you can't photograph. My daughter fell asleep at dinner with a noodle stuck to her cheek. Jenna took a picture because we are allowed to keep memories that aren't shared with people who don't deserve them. The next morning, a stack of notifications waited when I turned my phone on for a minute to check the time. Texts, voicemails, posts I was tagged in. Ivy had put up photos of family day at the pier with a caption that read, "Sometimes things don't work out, but we make the best of it." The comments were a soup of sympathy and passive aggression. One said, "Some people forget where they came from." Another, "Money changes folks." I didn't engage. I booked the kids into a cupcake decorating class and a scavenger hunt. I took my son to watch the ship's pilot boat peel away like a toy. I taught my daughter how to order room service fruit like a tiny queen. We watched a dive show where people leapt into a pool the size of our living room while the ocean moved under everything like a slow animal. I held Jenna's hand and felt the steady thump of a life that made sense. On day 3, guest services called our cabin. "Mr. Cole," the supervisor said, the same kind voice from my calls, "just letting you know there were attempts again to alter the miners' assignments. Our system blocked them. We've added a note that only you can authorize any changes. Enjoy your day." "Thank you," I said, a little stunned, a lot grateful. That night, while the kids watched an outdoor movie, Jenna nudged me. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm thinking about what comes after," I admitted. She nodded. "Then let's talk about after." We did. Sitting under a blanket with popcorn we kept stealing from our kids, we made the list we should have made years ago. Boundaries. What we would fund, what we wouldn't. Who gets our time? How we will handle holidays. How many times we let someone call our kids in the way before we hit block. 0, Jenna said. The number is 0. 0, I agreed. On New Year's Eve, the deck filled with people in paper hats. A little band of kids, including ours, did laps around the pool as if practicing for a marathon of sugar. Midnight came with a countdown, a horn blast, fireworks reflected in black water. I kissed Jenna and then kissed the tops of 2 small heads and told them, "This year is ours." Across the sea of faces, I saw a stranger hand his phone to another stranger so his whole family could be in one photo. I saw a little girl on her dad's shoulders. I saw a grandmother dancing with a toddler. I saw what I had wanted and realized I already had it, just smaller and better. The ship's photographer offered to take a picture of the 4 of us. We said yes. The photo would live on our fridge, not the group chat. That felt like the point. When we got home, there were messages waiting like a stack of unpaid parking tickets. Some angry, some pretending to be calm. One from my dad that said, "You humiliated us," as if humiliation couldn't possibly be the result of your own choices. One from my mom that said, "You broke your father's heart," a sentence designed to press every button at once. A long one from Ivy about optics and empathy. None from Mason that weren't threats or fragments of threats. I listened to 3 voicemails and then stopped. I forwarded everything to a new folder and then moved the group chat into the archive. If I needed documentation, I had it. If I needed peace, I knew where it wasn't. I wrote one final message and sent it to each of them individually so nobody could perform for the group. "I'm done paying for things where my kids aren't welcome. I won't be your bank or your plan B. Don't talk about my children like they are luggage. If you want a relationship with us, it comes with respect. No more gray areas." I put my phone down and went to make grilled cheese with my daughter because she was starving in a very serious way, which means she wanted 2 sandwiches. The next week, I recorded a podcast episode called "The Cost of Being the Reliable One." I didn't name names. I didn't tell the cruise story. I talked about roles, about how families love you to be a function, wallet, fixer, clown, ghost, because it keeps the system humming. I talked about boundaries as a gift you give your future self. I talked about how family means nothing without safety. Emails poured in. A guy wrote that his sister had used his credit for years, and he finally froze the account. A woman said her mother called her selfish for not hosting Christmas while she recovered from surgery. A dad said he felt seen for the first time. I printed those and stuck them in a folder marked "Keep." My parents didn't answer my boundary text. Ivy responded with a paragraph about tone and gratitude that ended with "we'll circle back." Mason sent a middle finger emoji and then, 3 days later, a request for $500 just until Friday. I declined. Then I blocked him. There wasn't a big cinematic showdown. There was just quiet. Quiet group chats. Quiet holidays. Quiet space in my head where the panic used to sit. In that quiet, other things got louder. Reading on the couch with my kids. Jenna and I planning a spring road trip where we stop for fries at weird roadside places. Family dinners with friends who act like family because they actually show up. My mom's favorite casserole recipe, which Jenna makes better. The sound of my son practicing piano with exactly 6 minutes of focus. My daughter announcing she's starting a rock band made of wooden spoons. On New Year's Day, we printed the photo from the ship. It's the four of us, wind in our hair, my daughter's glitter shoes kicked up, my son holding a plastic flute of apple juice like a toast. On the back, Jenna wrote, "We choose us." I don't know what my extended family will do next. I can't control the part where they rewrite the story at brunch and tell aunts and cousins that I ruined the trip. I can't fix the reflex that makes my mom say we were only trying to help, when what she means is we wanted it our way. I can't stop Ivy from curating a version of us that gets her more likes. I can't give Mason a conscience. What I can do is keep my list. The one from the blanket under the movie screen on the ship. My kids are not negotiable. My marriage is a priority, not a resource. No is a complete sentence. Love is shown by showing up. I choose small, real joy over big, fake optics. The last message I sent said, "When you're ready to come over for dinner and treat our kids like human beings, the door is open. If you're not ready, that's okay. We're not waiting." I stood at the sink and watched my son build a Lego boat on the counter because for some reason the counter is the only place you can build a boat. My daughter asked if we can do the big boat again next year. I said maybe. She said, "But only with us." "Only with us," I said. That night, as I set the photo on the fridge, I realized the piece I'd been missing. The happy ending wasn't the ship leaving while I waved at people who chose to stay behind. The happy ending was the weight that finally lifted when I stopped trying to drag them with me. Happy New Year. Looks like we're the ones going forward.